Thank you for being with us today. I'm here to brief you on a very, very dangerous situation that occurred this morning. Now, there's been a lot said about license plate readers. They invade your privacy. Absolutely not. They do not. They don't do anything other than a law enforcement officer can do. And they look at tag numbers. They run them through the computer system to see if in fact there are any outstanding warrants for someone's arrest. To see if there's a missing person in the car. They read license plate numbers from the public side of the roadway, just like a law enforcement officer. The advantage is they can read them much faster than a law enforcement officer can manually enter them into the computer for the same exact data. And today, because of a license plate reader, we were able to apprehend what turned out to be a very dangerous person. Let me introduce you to Larry Ronaldo Riles. He's 46. His family reported to us and confirmed what we saw on his vehicle, that he is an Uber driver. That's what his family said. And we saw a Uber sign in his front windshield. But that's not why we were looking for him. We were looking for him because a license plate reader said, hey, this guy's got an outstanding warrant for violation of probation. Our deputies were circulating the area of Wabash and Memorial Boulevard when they located his vehicle. It's a Chevy Captiva, it's dark blue. He had seen us in the area apparently, and he backed in so we couldn't see his tag number in front of the subway that we're in front of now. But the deputies found him. There were 3 deputies, and they blocked him in. When they blocked him in, they got out and they told him to exit the vehicle several times, and of course he refused. Then he started rolling forward. So they broke out his windshield, which was tinted very darkly. So you have a dark colored tint on this vehicle where it's difficult to see in. He's got outstanding violation of probation warrants. He's backed in to hide from us. We break the window and we try to tase him. So he's rolling his vehicle forward. He's resisting us. We still try to talk to him and de-escalate and tase him. And then he rams the patrol car because he's trying to get away. Well, he can't move the patrol car. He reaches into the back seat and starts to rack a round into a 9mm handgun. It appears to be a 9mm. We've not picked it up, but it is a semi-automatic handgun. Not just any semi-automatic handgun, but one stolen from a vehicle in the city of Lakeland on the 24th of June. As he's starting to rack a round into the firearm to engage our deputies, we shot him. We shot him a lot. As soon as he was neutralized and he dropped the gun, we pulled him from the vehicle and started life-saving measures. So let me focus here a second. You've got a guy that's reported to us as an Uber driver with an Uber sign in his window, with a stolen vehicle and a criminal history, on probation, driving around the city. We try to peacefully take him into custody and he resists. We try to tase him after we knock the window out because he won't lower the window, and he rolls forward and then tries to ram the vehicle. After he rams the vehicle, then he reaches into the back seat, pulls out his firearm, and is preparing to engage us in a gunfight. We were quicker than he was. There's the quick and the dead. and the suspect's dead because we saw this firearm and protected ourselves. I would like to identify the deputies to you today, but there's just been a new law passed that says I can't release their names for 72 hours. The investigation is ongoing, but here's what we know. He was arrested years ago for an aggravated assault with a deadly weapon in Hillsborough County, and they allowed him to plead to a misdemeanor. And then he was arrested for a felony grand theft in Polk County, and he was allowed to plead to a misdemeanor. And then they brought him in for a drug test, and he tested positive for meth, so they did a violation of probation and put him in the jail for 39 years, modified his probation, and let him go back out onto the street. He went back out onto the street. Probation officer calls him in for his next drug test, and I believe it was the 1st of June. And he tests, and he runs from that test. When they spring the test on him, he runs out the door, and that caused this current violation of probation. After that, he comes into possession of a firearm as a result of another burglary, another felony in Lakeland. So I ask you this license plate reader on the side of the road in a public space, only looking at tag numbers and colors of vehicles, potentially stopped you from getting in an Uber with a guy with a stolen firearm and on probation. I don't think that's a bad deal. I think there's a lot of misunderstanding about license plate readers. They do not violate anyone's privacy. They're not in a private space. And all we do is look for bad guys and look for Alzheimer's patients that are missing and try to keep you safe. So at the end of the day, we're going to keep you safe. We're going to reduce crime. And we're going to protect ourselves. Larry Ronaldo Riles today asked to be shot, and we obliged him. These deputies didn't come to work today wanting to get into a potential gunfight, but they were trained and they were ready, and they're going to go home safe tonight, and Larry chose that. He could have given up when we blocked his vehicle in. He knew he was blocked in. He could have given up when he started rolling forward and we broke the window out. He chose to ram the vehicle. He could have given up after all of that, but what did he choose to do? He chose to get his firearm and rack it for a gunfight. And we beat him to the draw. And that's on him. So at the end of the day, here's a couple of takeaways. We're going to use license plate readers only in public spaces. If anyone that has access to this data abuses it, just like if they abuse any of our other computer data, we're going to hold them accountable. But we're also going to keep the community safe. And if you try to attack our deputies with a firearm, we're going to shoot you. We're going to shoot you a lot, but that's not our choice. That's your choice. I've told you pretty much everything we know at this early stage of the investigation, but are there any questions?
Sheriff, I can't help but notice this is a very public area. People work in this store, there's been customers in here, people driving around. How dangerous of a situation was it, given how public this area is?
Well, Larry created this very dangerous situation in a public area. It was early in the morning, and there was fortunately very few people here. But we don't choose the locations of shootouts, but we respond to the locations of shootouts. And at the end of the day, he had total control. Today, he would be preparing to eat some lunch at the county jail if he'd have just given up. But he chose not to do that. But be sure one thing, that we're going to keep the community safe. And that's why I said his family says he's an Uber driver. There's a sign in the front window that clearly indicates he's an Uber driver. Uber hasn't confirmed that and probably won't without a subpoena. But my goodness, can you imagine? Can you imagine getting in the car with this dude? With him on violation of probation, in possession of a stolen handgun, probably committed the burglary, but even if he did, he's a walking felon, alleged Uber driver. Yeah, we will release any store video at the conclusion of the investigation. There is some video from some of the stores here, but that's part of the investigation. But we don't see any surprises here. It confirms everything the three different deputies told us preliminarily.
Obviously, you walked us through this very slowly, Sheriff, but please explain from your deputy's perspective how quickly this happens and how fast they have to react.
It happened in seconds. In seconds. I mean, they drive up, they jump out. Sheriff's office, step out of the vehicle. Sheriff's office, step out of the vehicle. There's a warrant for your arrest. Step out of the vehicle. He starts rolling. Boom, the window breaks. They try to tase him. They didn't try to shoot him. They tried to tase him. The taser didn't work. He gets a firearm, and he's racking around in it. And that's when they shot, as they should have.
How many officers were involved in the shooting?
There were 4 officers here, 3 shot.
Sheriff, we know no deputies were injured, thankfully. We know the condition of Raul now.
He's deceased, and next of kin's been notified. Okay? Thank you very much.